You know why people like you don't like fast food?
It's not always just about the food.
You sure about that?
How long did you wait for your order? Was your order correct when you received it? How much did it cost? These are just some of the reasons why your favorite franchise may be one of the 10 fast food chains that are by far the worst in the country in 2023.
I think I'll have a cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger!
Subway.
Who were you, Subway? Before you were Subway.
Subway has had some issues when it comes to ingredients, including a lawsuit of how much tuna is actually in their tuna, and court proceedings on whether its bread can technically be considered bread. But back in the year 2000, Subway was buoyed by a healthy eating image and a then newly introduced Eat Fresh ad campaign that had enough vegetables to make the Jolly Green Giant blush.
Eat fresh? Eat fresh?
The sandwich shop had long surpassed its humble roots, and Subway had already expanded globally to over 16,000 locations across the world entering the new millennium. A decade later, in 2010, the company had more locations worldwide than McDonald's. Subway peaked in 2015 as the fastest-growing food franchise group on the planet, with 27,000 locations in the USA and another 18,000 worldwide. By the summer of 2021, the footlong's footprint had increased to more than 37,000 worldwide locations spanning more than 100 countries. However, their aggressive franchising policies may have been too far too fast, and Subway saw a drop in quality across the board as sales suddenly and drastically plummeted. In the last 4 years alone, many sandwich artists have hit the unemployment line due to more than 4,000 US-based Subway locations closing their doors. Subway remains relevant globally due to the sheer number of stores remaining from its glory days, but the company is making an alarming slide down the mountain, and our once favorite footlongs are falling fast.
Hey, Subway, eat fresh. And then you bite it and you're like, not so fresh.
Burger King.
Burger King. Peasants doing what peasants do.
Comedian Mel Brooks once taught us that
It's good to be the king.
but the exception to that rule is if you're the king of burgers. Things aren't a total disaster in the kingdom, since BK is still one of the biggest chains on the planet, and here at home as the distant but firmly placed number 2 burger baron behind the McDonald's juggernaut. But heavy is the head that wears the crown, and gaining ground in the burger wars hasn't been easy due to slow service times and aging restaurants. Issues started to pile up as far back as 2012, when BK had the worst order accuracy of the major US fast food chains, screwing up 17% of their orders. That same year, they were more than a full minute behind the national leaders for drive-through service time, taking nearly 3.5 minutes to complete each order.
How long was the drive?
Nearly a decade later, things had gotten even worse, with that 200-second service time ballooning to 344 seconds in 2020, and even higher to 359 seconds by 2021. Burger King's slow service eventually created a slow period in sales, too, with customers flocking to the competition when they got tired of sitting at the drive-thru window. Between 2018 and 2022, BK was forced to close almost 300 stores from coast to coast, dropping from just over 7,300 locations to just over 7,000. The number continues to drop, and by the summer of 2023, it was down to just under 6,850 outlets. As the King's Army continues to dwindle, the once regal Whopper will continue to be mentioned among the worst service times on the market.
Have any of you ever eaten at Burger King?
Wendy's.
Dude, this is a Wendy's restaurant.
Another slight against Burger King was that on top of their service issues, they had long defended the title of most expensive fast food service chain, with a higher average price point than their competitors, charging more while taking longer to do it. But the King eventually yielded that crown to a pricey princess in a not-so-far-off land, Wendy's. It's been an up-and-down battle with affordability for Wendy's, which had prices almost 200% higher than the national burger average during the 1970s. They tried to fix their reputation as an expensive fast food chain with the first national dollar menu when Wendy's introduced the 99-cent super value menu in 1989. But old habits die hard. In 2022, the company saw a 35% jump in prices, which was the largest of the major chains. And by December of that year, officially took the crown from Burger King as America's most expensive burger chain. Wendy's average cost of $6.63 dwarfed BK's former high score of $5.03 by more than $1.50. Compare that to a 5% menu price decrease from McDonald's, and you can see why Wendy's is one of the worst. It's not the burgers, it's the prices.
Corner the market, then raise the price.
New to BabbleTop? Then how about hitting that subscribe button? It's quick, it's easy, and it's free. Thanks.
I will take the free food.
Chick-Fil-A.
Let's get Chick-Fil-A and not tell anybody.
Wendy's isn't the only franchise that saw price increase. The famously closed on Sundays chicken sandwich slingers at Chick-fil-A had a large increase themselves, seeing a 15.5% increase in prices being charged to customers. The amount of pocket change being charged for your chicken might be the least of Chick-fil-A's problems, though. They also suffer in the customer service department, spending 2022 increasing their costs and also increasing their wait times.
I don't know how to make a chicken sandwich.
The company had the worst wait of 10 major fast food chains monitored, and at a staggering average of 8.5 minutes, they can't even use the excuse that fried chicken takes longer, since KFC's average was almost 3.5 minutes faster. To put a cherry on top of this never open on Sundays Sunday, as if high prices and low service standards aren't enough, the company's corporate side has long-running issues of civil rights violations at the federal, state, and municipal levels. Apart from the chicken, it seems there's more than just one reason why Chick-fil-A finds itself among the worst in 2023.
He's discovered my plot to blow up the Chick-fil-A.
Sbarro.
Jack goes to Sbarro when he's angry.
With a history dating back to 1956, the Pizza Pals from Sbarro have been around a long time, but the chain hasn't managed to use that time very wisely. Despite growing globally to almost 1,000 locations across more than 36 countries, including more than 50 stores in the Philippines, Sbarro's reputation in the USA leaves plenty to be desired. As one of the top-ranked Italian-based fast food restaurants in the country in the mid-2000s, poor sales numbers and inconsistent quality control from constant ownership and management changes forced Sbarro to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in April 2011, a few short years after their peak in popularity.
I declare bankruptcy!
And just when you thought the coast was clear, Sbarro filed for Chapter 11 for the second time in less than 3 years in 2013. Like some kind of stumbling zombie, Sbarro lives on, but we prefer our zombies on TV or in the movies, not pizzerias.
I'll just look up for my Sbarro pizza.
Baskin-Robbins.
I used to be a Baskin-Robbins.
We all know the rhyme about screaming for ice cream, but Baskin-Robbins and their 31 flavors might be screaming for very different reasons. With more than 7,000 worldwide locations, the ice cream folks have done well for themselves. But there've been red flags showing up darker than a double scoop of Very Berry Strawberry or Cherry's Jubilee. Stores outside North America started to close up shop, including the unexpected, unexplained, and permanent 2022 closure of every Baskin-Robbins shop in the Philippines.
Remember when we were little and Dad used to always take us to Baskin-Robbins?
Just a few months before the mass Filipino failure, and perhaps in an attempt to get ahead of their sliding fortunes, Baskin-Robbins rebranded its food packaging, team uniforms, and even the logo and color scheme in April 2022 to a refreshed image. For 4 straight years before they rebranded, Baskin-Robbins has been closing an average of 75 shops a year across America, suggesting their usually hot sales of frozen treats are quickly cooling off.
I'm basking in your pain as I'm robbing you of life.
Krystal.
Feed them all with steamy crystals.
Southern slider burger chain Krystal, which despite being in business for almost a century and the oldest burger chain in the southeastern United States, has seen its share of tough times. Regionally based and not widespread, the restaurant chain is not a national household name, having locations across less than a dozen states, all of which are concentrated in the southern U.S. Founded in 1932 and much like other chains over the years, including Little Tavern and White Tower, Krystal wholeheartedly took its strategies from the 1920s and 1930s popularity of White Castle. Sure, there are sliders, but they also focus on fun-sizing other fast food classics like mini corn dogs and mini chicken burgers. But the real downsizing happened when it came to Krystal's sales figures.
There's no downsizing.
A declining reputation in service and quality caused a lull in business with a year-over-year 10% drop in sales numbers and some very unhappy franchisees. Due to mounting pressure, the company declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy in January of 2020. New ownership has declared an aggressive plan to save Krystal's crashing business, planning to almost double the number of locations to 500 over the next half-decade, while cutting costs with new stores by using 20% less kitchen space and 10% less labor. We can't see into Krystal's future, even with a crystal ball, but a new strategy might rescue one of our nation's oldest burger joints from its worst-case scenario of brutal burger bankruptcy.
It takes a lot to keep a brand relevant through all those times.
KFC.
You shouldn't bring in KFC unless it's actual KFC.
Playground rumors aside, there are plenty of real-life reasons you should be sketched out enough to avoid KFC. Colonel Sanders' specialty has long been under fire for the questionable health content of its various chicken dishes. However, even smaller items like a single chicken tender clock in at 260 calories and has as much salt as a full-sized grilled chicken breast, or a side dish like potato salad that has 350 calories and 28 grams of fat to itself.
That's like 10 giant buckets of KFC.
The chicken itself is in another unhealthy stratosphere altogether, but sales are strong enough to require the company to harvest upwards of 1 billion birds a year, and estimates suggest somewhere around 12 million customers worldwide stop at a KFC location somewhere on Earth every single day. So don't feel guilty when you stop in to visit the Colonel, because you're definitely not alone.
It's great.
I love KFC.
Waffle House.
Smells like a Waffle House sink.
Depending on who you ask, Waffle House is very much a love it or hate it discussion with no room in between. Known as a largely southern chain with southern charm to match, Waffle House was originally a humble 13-seat diner founded in Georgia in 1955 and is still headquartered in the Peach State today. But unlike some other chains on our list, business decisions in the boardroom aren't as much of a factor as the food quality when it comes to the negatives at this particular chain.
Now, if you thought working at Waffle House was just about cooking breakfast, well,
And while nobody really expects a healthy home-style meal from a 24-hour breakfast joint that's somewhere between a truck-stop diner and an after-church family restaurant, Waffle House pulls no punches about what they're trying to deliver. A single trademark Waffle House waffle packs just over 400 calories to itself, thanks to 55 carbs and 50 milligrams of cholesterol. If you're in the mood for lunch instead, the Double Angus Quarter-Pound Cheeseburger Deluxe packs over 1.5 times the calorie count of a Big Mac. Or you can opt for one of the pork-based dinners and breakfasts that all hover around or exceed 1,000 calories each. No matter how you go about any of the deliciousness, Waffle House is one of the worst chains when it comes to watching your waistline.
You might want to watch your waistline.
As we work our way to the end of the worst, give this video a thumbs up as we look at a quick service chain that was lucky enough to not qualify as one, at least based on a technicality, since it's hard to directly call Starbucks a food chain unless you're really into reduced-fat cinnamon swirl coffee cake or a fancy ancho chipotle chicken panini. At Starbucks, it's the beverages that run into trouble. Not only are the drinks overpriced, they're overcomplicated.
slow down. It's my first day.
Estimates show coffeegoers would save just under $100 a year by switching over to Dunkin' for their Morning Joe. And they'd also save their breath not dealing with names like double chocolatey chip cream frappuccino or cinnamon caramel cream nitro cold brew, or the laundry list of addable customizations. Still, Starbucks is clearly doing enough things right for enough coffeeholics that we just can't officially call it one of the worst.
Don't talk to me until I have my coffee!
Chipotle.
Look at him laughing at Chipotle.
The company slogan, "For Real," is supposed to describe the food integrity and sustainability at Chipotle, but it might just be a descriptor for how serious the company has to be about paying legal fees. Chipotle's official swap to that marketing slogan came in 2018 after years of controversy and plummeting stock caused company founder Steve Ells to step down from leading the franchise he created. In the 2 years prior, Chipotle faced 3 2016 lawsuits. lawsuits. One over its non-GMO ingredients claims, one for not paying overtime to employees, and another for providing false nutritional information for their chorizo burritos.
I will sue you for everything you have.
But that 2018 CEO change didn't prevent Chipotle's lawyers' phones from ringing, with 2 more lawsuits in 2021 for child labor violations in Massachusetts and unfair employee scheduling in New York City. A year later, 2 employees came forward with a sexual harassment suit in 2022. When it comes to the amount of time they spend in court over poor practices, Chipotle's record just might make them the undisputed worst fast food chain in the country.
What do you want to eat?
Eating's a hassle. I'll just starve.
Fine.
We're serving up great videos 24/7. Just tap or click, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell to join our notification squad.